What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Wednesday, July 23rd, 2025, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now, it is 18:08 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some emergency breaking news coming in with regards to the Epstein files situation. So, the Justice Department told Trump in May that his name is in the Epstein files, according to the Wall Street Journal. When Justice Department officials reviewed what Attorney General Pam Bondi called a truckload of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein earlier this year, they discovered that Donald Trump's name appeared multiple times. The Wall Street Journal is reporting, citing senior administration officials. One of the officials familiar with the documents said they contain hundreds of other names. Wow. So this could be the reason why the Trump administration has not released the Epstein files. Remember, they released a small amount of the files, but they didn't release all of them, and a lot of Trump supporters were pissed off about that, including one of Trump's closest allies, Dan Bongino, who threatened to resign from his post at the FBI 2 weeks ago. So this is absolutely huge news. The Wall Street Journal citing a senior Trump administration official, actually multiple officials, saying that the Justice Department reviewed the Epstein files, found Trump's name multiple times in the files, and that the documents contain hundreds of other names, okay? So this is very, very concerning. And White House officials told Reuters today that the Trump administration was not denying that Trump's name appears in the files. And a federal judge in Florida has denied a Justice Department request to release grand jury transcripts from the investigation of Epstein. The quick denial blocked efforts by the Trump administration to blunt criticism of its handling of files related to Jeffrey Epstein. U.S. District Judge Robin Rosenberg wrote that the court's hands are tied and said the government had not requested the grand jury's findings for use in a judicial proceeding, pointing out that district courts in the U.S. are largely prohibited from unsealing grand jury testimony except in very narrow circumstances. Wow, so this is absolutely huge news. Okay, the grand jury transcripts will not be unsealed as requested by the federal Department of Justice. Okay, very, very serious. And we're also hearing that the House Oversight Committee has officially subpoenaed Ghislaine Maxwell for a deposition to occur at the Federal Correctional Institution in Tallahassee on August 11th. So they're now going to be grilling Ghislaine Maxwell, whatever her name is, the girlfriend of Epstein, basically his, I don't know what you'd call it, his partner in crime. Okay, they're gonna grill her. So this should be very interesting. And the White House calls the Wall Street Journal report on Trump being told his name is in the Epstein files as fake news. This is another fake news story, just like the previous story by the Wall Street Journal. White House Communications Director Stephen Chang said in a statement in response to the Wall Street Journal's report. Stephen Chang said in a statement to CNN that the videos and photos of Trump and Epstein were nothing more than out-of-context frame grabs of innocuous videos and pictures of widely attended events to disgustingly infer something nefarious. The fact is that the president kicked him out of his club for being a creep, Chang added. This is nothing more than a continuation of the fake news stories concocted by the Democrats and the liberal media. So this is one of the pictures that CNN released, okay, Trump and Epstein together. Here's another one, Trump with his girlfriend at the time. This was in 1997. You can see Epstein there, right behind him. So The White House is denying it, saying it's fake news, and that these are just innocent screenshots at, general parties that, Epstein and Trump attended. Doesn't necessarily mean anything nefarious was going on, but this is huge news, guys. Absolutely huge news. Trump's name is in the Epstein files, according to senior Trump administration officials who spoke to the Wall Street Journal. So we'll have to wait and see how this plays out. But this is definitely not good news. And Poland has urged its citizens to urgently leave Russia. The country's Ministry of Foreign Affairs is advising against all travel to Russia due to the war in Ukraine and the recognition of Poland by the authorities of the Russian Federation as a hostile state. Any people already in the country have been urged to leave by any means necessary. An appeal published on the Polish government's website says all citizens residing in Russia should leave its territory by available commercial and private means, unless their personal, family, or professional circumstances require them to remain in the country. Currently, the number of Polish diplomatic and consular staff in Russia is reduced, and the government warned that in the event of a drastic deterioration in the security situation, border closures, or other unforeseen circumstances, evacuation of Polish citizens may prove significantly more difficult or even impossible. Direct flights between Poland and Russia are also currently suspended, and travel options between the two countries are limited, the government said. Polish citizens have been warned of the lack of extremely limited access to funds held in Poland, as well as the risk of arbitrary detentions and cell phone searches in Russia. The Polish government said there's also a risk that dual citizenship holders may potentially be prohibited from departing from Russia. Because of these issues, they have been told to always carry their documents, including their passport and migration card, with them. The Polish government also cited the risk of potential military mobilization, which may also apply to those who have dual citizenship. The warning added, in the Russian Federation, there is a complete ban on photographing objects related to state security, including police stations, airports, military installations, and other government offices. You may be held criminally liable if you violate this ban. So Poland telling its people to leave Russia immediately because Russia has recognized Poland now as a hostile country. And the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, recently today signed a law that limited the independence of special anti-corruption bodies in Ukraine. The law was approved by the Ukrainian parliament earlier today and triggered protests across Ukraine. The military intelligence chief in Ukraine, Kyrylo Budanov, said that amid the new law, nations torn by infighting will lose. Okay, so lots of protests going on in Ukraine right now. We also have some major breaking news coming in from the Middle East. An Iranian official said today that they have information that Israel is planning to attack Iran in the short term. And Iran's president said any talk of ending Iran's nuclear program is a mere illusion. He said, "We are ready for any Israeli military move, and our forces are prepared to strike deep into Israel again." And Iranian officials and a European official believe that the string of mysterious fires in Iran are a result of sabotage and suspect Israel of involvement. The Israeli parliament has voted with a majority in favor of annexing the West Bank. Wow, that is absolutely huge news. And between 120 and 150 Iranian rocket launchers exploded the moment they were activated during the war with Israel. Apparently, Iran's entire air defense system was hacked by Israel, and when Iran went to launch these rockets, they just went kaboom. And the Trump administration informed both Israel and Hamas that it wants to see an end to the war in Gaza. Washington warned Hamas of withdrawing guarantees if it does not move towards a Gaza deal. And Trump reportedly carried out 529 U.S. airstrikes in just 6 months, nearly matching the total number of strikes under Biden over 4 years. Wow, that is absolutely insane. And a French Mirage 2000 fighter jet crashed in Ukraine's Volyn region due to technical failure, according to the Ukrainian Air Force. The pilot ejected safely and there were no casualties on the ground. This was the first loss of a French Mirage 2000 fighter jet since deliveries began in February. And the head of the Russian peace delegation at the Ukraine-Russia Peace Summit today in Istanbul said they proposed short-term ceasefires to Ukraine. He also said that Russia proposed the establishment of 3 working groups to maintain online communication with Ukraine. And Ukraine's defense minister said Ukraine's priorities are a ceasefire and organizing a meeting between Zelensky and Putin, which Ukraine proposed for the end of August. And he also said that more than 12,000 people will be included in a humanitarian exchange between Russia and Ukraine. And Russia's Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said all work on coordinating the draft memorandums between Russia and Ukraine is preparation for a possible meeting between Putin and Zelensky. Scheduling a possible meeting between Putin and Zelensky without prior extensive work is impractical. And this update was sponsored by EMP Shield. Guys, EMP Shield has created a special discount just for you, the listeners of the NYPrepper channel. If you go to empshield.com and use the promo code NYPrepper, you can get 15% off your entire order. And why do you need an EMP shield? Well, this is a special device to protect your vehicle, your RV, your solar generators, your radios from an electromagnetic pulse, which could be caused by a solar flare or potentially a rogue country like North Korea detonating an electromagnetic pulse weapon over the United States that's mounted onto a satellite. So protect your vehicles, protect your RV, protect your radios, protect your generators with an EMP shield. Use my promo code NYPrepper to get 15% off. Installation is super simple. This is a veteran-owned business, 100% American-made, and the EMP shields have been tested by the military, okay? And free shipping is included to the entire continental United States. And the link and the promo code are in the description below this video. And the U.S. has approved the sale of equipment to Ukraine for the repair of Bradley infantry fighting vehicles, as well as Hawk Phase 3 air defense systems worth $322 million. And the U.S. has approved a $172 million support package for Ukraine's air defense system. The package will include 5-ton cargo trucks, spare parts, and the refurbishment and overhaul of air defense fire units. And the U.S. envoy to NATO, Matthew Whitaker, told Fox News that China must be punished for subsidizing Russia's war against Ukraine. He accused Beijing of backing a proxy war and warned of tariffs if Moscow rejected a peace deal. China is financing the killing on Ukraine's battlefields, he said. And Putin has now allowed Russians to run for political office and vote in Belarus. And Belarusians have been granted the same rights in Russia. So this is a slow takeover of Belarus by Putin, okay? And Putin is reportedly not worried about Trump or his 50-day deadline for Russia and Ukraine to reach a ceasefire. The Guardian reported on July 22nd, citing unnamed Kremlin officials. A lot can happen in 50 days, and Putin knows that. He sees Trump as emotional and susceptible to influence. Moscow will keep making overtures towards Washington. They don't see this rift as irreversible, a source within Russia's foreign policy establishment said. Wow. Okay, so a source within Russia's foreign policy establishment said that Putin sees Trump as emotional and susceptible to influence. Absolutely insane. And a former security guard at the U.S. Embassy in Oslo, Norway, has been charged with espionage, accused of leaking sensitive information to Russian and Iranian handlers including embassy floor plans, staff details, and photos. He was allegedly paid in Bitcoin and euros. The suspect denies all charges. And Russia is planning to allocate approximately $1.1 trillion towards rearmament by 2036, according to the head of Ukraine's military intelligence. And the U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Mike Johnson said on Tuesday he does not think the U.S. Congress should consider sanctions on Russia until after Trump's 50-day deadline for Moscow to end the war in Ukraine. He said it's gone on too long, too many innocent people are dying, and we don't want further American involvement in this at all. But I do think what NATO is doing and our allies around the world may be effective. I think we've all had enough of it. We hope it comes to an end soon. We trust the Commander-in-Chief. He's restoring peace through strength. And Russia has kicked off a large-scale naval exercise called July Storm. The exercises will include over 150 warships and support vessels, 120 aircraft, 10 coastal missile defense systems, 950 military and special vehicles, and more than 15,000 troops. And Hungary, Russia, and Serbia signed an agreement to build a new oil pipeline. And according to several Indian outlets, Russia and India signed a mega provisional agreement for India to purchase 42 Sukhoi 57 fighter jets and 50 Sukhoi 35 fighter jets. And Israel is deploying additional air defense systems across the country. A technical delegation from the IAEA is also expected to visit Iran within 2 to 3 weeks, according to an Iranian official. And Iran is worried that the U.S. will use the nuclear talks as a pretext for new attacks, according to Axios, citing a senior Iranian official. And the Brazilian government said that they are in the final stages of requesting to intervene in the genocidal case against Israel at the International Court of Justice. Wow. And an Iranian naval helicopter issued a warning to the USS Fitzgerald, a U.S. warship, at 10 a.m. this morning after it entered waters monitored by Iran in the Sea of Oman. And an Iranian satellite will be launched into space on Friday using Russia's Soyuz launch vehicle. Hopefully it's not an EMP satellite. And the Israeli Shin Bet has arrested an elderly woman from central Israel on suspicion of planning an assassination against Prime Minister Netanyahu using an explosive device. And Axios reported that White House Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff is planning to meet in Rome on Thursday with senior Qatari and Israeli officials to continue negotiations over the Gaza ceasefire and hostage deal. And Turkey has unveiled its first hypersonic missile, the Typhoon Block 4. Ankara has officially presented a new version of its longest-range ballistic missile, the Typhoon Block 4. It is the first hypersonic missile fully developed in Turkey. According to the manufacturer Rokistan, the missile weighs over 7 tons, reaches speeds above Mach 5, and can strike strategic targets with an accuracy margin of less than 5 meters. Wow. So this is very concerning, guys. Turkey now has this long-range hypersonic ballistic missile that can strike targets within 5 meters, which is just insanely accurate. We don't know the actual range of this missile, but this is just another step towards the Gog-Magog war, where Turkey, Russia, and a bunch of Middle Eastern countries, including Libya, Iran, Sudan, all unite and attack Israel. And the U.S. and European Union are finalizing a deal to waive 15% tariffs on select products, including aircraft, spirits, and medical devices. And North Korea has begun construction on a third Cho Hyun-class destroyer intended to be completed on October 10th of 2026. So North Korea building another warship, and Japan's prime minister is going to be resigning. Shigeru Ishiba has decided to resign as head of government, according to Reuters. For the first time since 1955, the ruling party in Japan has lost control of both chambers of parliament. Internal pressure within the LDP and a plunge in Ishiba's approval rating below 23% made his resignation only a matter of time. He is expected to formally step down by the end of August after the conclusion of major trade talks with the U.S. worth $500 billion. And here we have some sub-hunter activity off the coast of Scotland in the North Sea. This is pretty unusual. We had a sub-hunter flying really low in the North Sea. Must be looking for Russian subs here, potentially trying to damage undersea pipelines and cables that go from Norway to Europe. And then there was also this sub-hunter patrolling Iceland, which is very rare. And then we had a nuclear war command and control plane airborne this afternoon. It did this giant loop here around Louisiana and Arkansas. And there was also several tactical nuclear codes just in the last few hours. So U.S. nuclear forces are definitely on very high alert. And then here we have video footage of this Iranian helicopter flying close to an American destroyer in the Gulf of Oman. And look how close that thing is to the American destroyer. And it was apparently warning the destroyer. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I might be back later on tonight with a live update. And until the next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere.